Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop below the Star Mopars.com. It's Thursday night. It had a nasty little storm rolled through as I was coming home from work. And it's kind of cool, but not cool enough when I got in here to not have the fan running. So if you hear anything in the background, that's what that is. My apologies in advance. As always, timestamps and links will be down below for your convenience. Before we jump into the video, I do want to say we are rapidly approaching the 5,000 subscriber mark. Plan at that point in time is to pick up stuff from Matco. And Matco item I am most interested in is, of course, the blue-handled ratchets, particularly black chrome. I've made a couple posts on the community section of YouTube. If you've got any suggestions, this can be something you use daily that you think I would enjoy. This can be something that you want to see compared with something that you know I've got here and use frequently. It can be just a pipe dream that you say, hey, you should bring this in and see what it's like. Whatever it is, I'm open to suggestions. Can't promise we'll get everything, but I will give it a go. And you'll also see we've sort of upgraded here. I've got these on because they're a little cleaner than my red ones. And discount code will be down below for Alpha gloves. You can use the discount code Lone Star. You save 20%. I make nothing off of that. I like the gloves, and you save 20% if you like them or simply want to try them. Now, with that said, we're going to jump right into this because I kind of need to expedite it, get it going. When you buy from KC Tool, you get a bit of thanks. This will be a Philo number 2 as they're currently shipping. And if you were to exceed the $100 threshold, you will pick up a German tool sticker pack. If you replicate what I purchased here, you will not get the German tool sticker pack. And you would also be a little shy of free freight, but that's easy to remedy by adding other tools. So that's why you hopefully have been keeping a wish list, monitoring tool of the day, and if you exceed that $75 threshold, you are home free. Now, without further ado, this is what we're going to be taking a look at, and the reason being, realistically, this would be pushed way down the line, but as you can see in the corner, this is limited edition. I don't know that it's super limited, but at the same time, if you don't know about this yet, I want you to know about it in the event that if you want these, you can purchase them when they're available for MSRP or tool of the day, as this was already. And you can save yourself a lot of headache moving forward. Again, this is a deal I don't envision you having any issues right now. I asked for production numbers. They were unsure, but they said they didn't anticipate anything, like you don't buy it tomorrow, you can't ever get it again type of a scenario. But again, it would be advantageous to you whether this is something you want to give yourself for Christmas, a birthday, if you plan to give it as a gift to someone. Probably snag it now and avoid a headache or having to go on eBay and buy it from a scalper at a later date. This right here, as I mentioned, was actually tool of the day. It is going to be part number. If you go straight through KC Tool, it would be WR for Wera, and then 300-043. So 300-043. I'm sorry, this would be 44. And cat's out of the bag, right? Because there's another one that is part number 44. So essentially, think of it, if you're using their search function, WR for Wera, you can also just type in 300-043. That's going to be this one. 044 is going to be this one. So what is the difference in these? Well, obviously this is a 2-piece set, this is a 7-piece set, and the main thing there, as you might have guessed, is the price. You're looking at around $19 for this. Again, on tool of the day, I think it was slightly cheaper. I mean, that's already pretty low. And then for this one, you're looking at about $42 as I pulled it up right now. Again, this has not been on tool of the day. It potentially could be, and if that's the case, you would probably see the price knocked down even more. So the bottom line, if you plan to use these as like your screwdriver set, if you love them that much, if you're going to buy one for collectability, one to give away, and one to actually use, $42 for a 7-piece set, that's not bad, and you get some bonus items in here that we'll cover shortly. So if it's just kind of a novelty collector items for you that you want on display or whatever the case may be, $20 right here, you get a number 2 Phillips, of course, and a bottle opener. So lots and lots of people love and revere the Wera Kraftform handle, and that's what you're going to have here. So case in point, this would be kind of like their 300 series, right? And this is probably what you know and love. Oftentimes you see this in like a multi-driver configuration or bit holder. It'll have a button on the back, it'll have a bit magazine that pops out, it'll have a blade that extends, it's a turbo handle, a ratchet, whatever. This is in its truest form. This thing went back to being developed in the 1960s. It hit the market in 68. It was kind of a study in ergonomics done in partnership with a firm, and it's just slightly been tweaked over the years. So if you're watching this video or reading a magazine that I was writing for at the time, this is roughly what you would be picking up, albeit for way less money, but hey, that's inflation, right? So everything that you know and love here is going to be present in these drivers there. There is, of course, the Kraftform Comfort variation. Pretty much the same ergonomically. The big difference here, that's going to be a black tip, sort of like you would have for, like, you know, impact grade stuff. And this is kind of going to be the selling point for a lot of you if you do pull the trigger, or if you've waited to purchase from Wera. If you look at that tip there and you see that weird stuff, that's not hair, that's not, you know, like little plastic shavings, it's not magnetized. They would be laid out perfectly if it was. I'll even zoom in for you since the camera's focusing well for some reason. And yeah, that is a laser tip. So essentially what Wera does, I was bragging too much about you, wasn't I, camera? What Wera will do with certain select, you know, Phillips, posi, and slotted drivers, they will come in and they will actually cut this with a laser, and that's going to essentially do two things. Number one, you know, if you had a screw handy, you could stab it and it should hold it a little bit better than if you had, say, this one. You know, you might have a little bit more wiggle room. But the big deal, if you're actually putting this into a practical, you know, perspective, if we're coming in and we're driving down, okay, let's say that we're doing like breakers in a panel or something, and you've got to come in and just drive down, you have to maintain pressure on the driver, you know, to keep the screw in place as you set it, and then once you kind of get going, you're home free. Same thing in a, say, 90-degree situation where you're coming in, driving it into something in front of you, like our gauge cluster back there. It, in theory, takes away the pressure that you would have to apply, so there's less fatigue for the end user. Again, these are just selling points if you plan to actually put these into practice for yourself. Same thing with, you know, your slotted and stuff. So, in terms of my favorite, or I guess you could say even most used Wera drivers, it would be these suckers over here. And it's the same thing again, ergonomically. These are a little heavier duty. These are they're chisel drivers. Nothing aesthetics, no color preference at play here. It's just, this is, again, heavy duty. Now the downside to the chisel driver, and if this is what you've brought in from my previous videos, or if it's what you have or what you picked from the Wera lineup, the downside, these are sort of literally built as a chisel driver. If you're going on the tool truck, they're selling pry drivers, right? Where they say, hey, this is actually going to be a chisel or a pry bar. That's what Wera has been doing with these for a long time. This is kind of a bad example. I do actually, you know, use these. So that's why the tip's a little faded. That's why there's like rust, and some of these are beat more than the others. Ironically, the thing I complained about in that set is this little guy right here, because it doesn't have a striking cap. I get it, you would break it easy. It doesn't have the hex bolster. But what I've done with this one, it works really, really well for like trim and clip removal. So that's kind of what I've assigned it to. I must have cleaned it, because last I remember it, this thing was filthy. So they do clean up okay. Obviously yellow may not be ideal, but that is something I want to point out, because I could stab that in a holder and everything seems to be slotted. There's a Phillips for us. Okay, this one I don't really use too much. I don't know if at all, because in part I might be saving it for testing. But if you look at the Phillips tip here, it's going to mirror your Kraftform Comfort in the sense that it's a black tip, you know, just sort of for oxidation, corrosion protection, right? It does not feature the laser tips, okay? The laser tips are not present on Phillips. If you had a posi driver just like this in their chisel driver form, it would not feature the laser tip. And of course, the slotted ones that you're chiseling or prying or breaking, whatever, they are not laser tips. So that is a practical reason for you to justify this purchase if you're coming from a non-laser tipped base set. Now, a lot of you might be looking at these and thinking, hey, I thought they'd done these, you know, it seems like I recall seeing that, or, you know, on Casey Tool or Amazon or eBay. There was a similar handle style, and it would be the Red Bull Racing one. A lot of people picked those up, collected them, you know, made videos on them back in the day. If you're into that sort of a thing, you can probably still find them, albeit you're going to have a harder time getting some, you know, for closeout or clearance or MSRP. You might be paying a scalper price, and that's what you want to avoid here. So what I'm gonna do is, of course, everything Wera, typically everything Wera, has kind of over-the-top presentation, especially compared to some other brands. And nothing, not a pro, not a con, but it is appreciated by the end consumer, especially, again, if you're a collector or you want this on display, or you're going to throw these into use, but you like the box type of a thing. Just lots of different facets here. So again, you're looking at around 19 bucks for this. It is limited. I do not know numbers. I wish I did. Advertised down here, the ergonomics of the Kraftform and the laser tip, which we have covered. If you haven't picked up on it, these are limited for the good old US of A. That's right, red, white, and blue Captain America, Super, and whatever you want to dub it. We'll cover kind of this difference here in a little bit. Also, ooh, that looks better. It's a little dull, like that's not super vibrant, but opening that, oh yeah, that pops. So it's more appreciated, in my opinion, in this configuration than on the packaging. So I know there are a lot of you that collect and appreciate and covet the bottle openers. It's never really been my thing. I'd prefer like a bit holder, or, you know, like a, I don't know, a tiny precision driver or something, you know, but I guess this is like the universally accepted thing, you know. And like I said, I think I'm in the minority there. I think most people, they think, oh sweet, this is perfect. And I assume it's a good bottle opener. I could not tell you, I've never used one, but it gives you a good feel for their handle, and it's going to also allow you to appreciate the color scheme. Now right here, this is kind of the bread and butter. Phillips #2. Obviously, if you're here in the US, you love America, but you're like, man, I don't use Phillips. I do everything posi driver, Torx. You're probably going to want the 7-piece set, so you get some drivers you actually use, again, provided your plan is to put these into service. So right here, if she'll focus a little better, I'll try to bring you in so you can maybe read this sucker. You've got a pretty good red and blue, in my opinion. Wera, the way they do it, and this is kind of going to prove the year of manufacture. You can see it beautifully there, just like VHA. You'll see the 2-digit number. That is the year produced. So these are fresh, right out of the Czech Republic, right? And then the back side there's got something. It looks like parting lines and a 3 or a 5. Yeah, something to do with the mold, I suppose. Business end over here. If I can back her out to the perfect spot. It's a star. Now typically, let's take a look here. The Kraftform Comfort, I kind of actually like it a little bit better because it just tells you what it is. Like, picture that in a screwdriver stand, your tool bag, whatever, a bucket, your jean pocket or cargo pants. Apparently there's cargo socks. Now whatever, you just look down and you know that's Phillips, and if you can read that from whatever distance you're at, you know it's a Phillips too. Now they sort of take it a step further when you get into the this style of the Kraftform, right? Kraftform Plus. That's going to tell you that it's a #2 Phillips. Everything, just like with the Take It Easy tool finder system with sockets, it's all color coded. Once you're kind of invested in the Wera ecosystem, if you want to make use of that, you know, like most people are going to see that, and then there would be a blue with a #2. And eventually you figure out, like, okay, red is Phillips, blue is this, you know, that's my hex, this is, you know, Torx, this is square. Well, it'll all just kind of come to you if you invest heavily in the Wera stuff. So the difference here being, since this is pretty much an identical driver in a different colorway, instead of having the red circled number 2, they kind of did the star shield for us there. So that is one of the special features there. And again, a big selling point, whether this will be your first ever Wera tool, or you're just gonna, use it or display it, it's the laser tip. I honestly don't have a lot of experience with the laser tip because most of what I've bought Phillips wise I've retained for testing that we've not begun. So there's a lot of drivers that get a ton of use. The one that I use the most would be their chisel driver Phillips, and I don't use that one much at all. I'm typically cycling through something else, and it's not laser tip, so that's kind of the logic there. Now, if we were to lift this out, this is really okay. So I have not watched any videos. I haven't sat through any quick videos. Typically with Wera, when you open something, you would have, this, and then there would be a sticker, a little Tattoo Rebel sticker, maybe a bigger one, Velcro, for a Wera to go system. There is nothing in there. And that, again, if you're into that sort of a thing, if that's a big deal, if you wanted your first Wera purchase to sort of be the complete package, that might be something you're concerned about. So we're going to go ahead and close that. Again, this is the front. Sides don't have any information. You got the Wera Kraftform. Flipping her around, they kind of highlight, the ergonomics and the laser tip. I believe I've covered that in sufficient detail for you. And right there, that's going to be your part number. So again, 44 is going to be the 2-piece set, 43 will be your 7-piece set. And once more, links and timestamps always down below for your convenience. If that doesn't interest you, or if you think, man, I really want the complete set, I'm going to use these things, these lasers sound cool, I want to give them a go, see what I think of them, this would be the set for you. The other thing, you got to think about it, you're getting a number 2 Phillips and a bottle opener for 20 bucks, okay? Spend another 20 and you're basically going to get yourself an additional 5 drivers and another item that you can probably figure out, but I'm going to drag it out until we open it. And let's also hope that when we get inside this one, let's just hope that we've got a sticker or something to kind of showcase with it. I'm trying to keep this plastic sleeve intact, and it's not wanting to cooperate with me. So we'll there we go. Once you get it going, it's usually home free. Oh Lord, this probably works better if you have a right thumb that you can articulate a little better than mine. But hey, it's still there, so can't complain too much. Now, setting that off to the side, we've got the box, which again, if you see this on a display, if you somehow have a store near you that's cool enough to stock Wera stuff and you think, I don't like those colors, much more vivid inside the packaging. Maybe they'll let you open one, take a look at it. Let's take a look, speaking of that, at this box. So obviously, Alaska and Hawaii even featured. Of course, there's Texas and everything else, as I call it. But we got the sets, we got something, we got the bottle opener. Spinning her around, we've got pretty much the same thing. This also highlights the anti-roll zone. Most important thing here is going to be the part number, which again, 43. But if you're curious about the contents, we have got this setup right here. A number 1 Phillips, 80 millimeters long. A number 2 Phillips, that's 100 millimeters long. So again, think of that as your standard 4-inch driver. And then we've got the slotteds. Let me check this text real quick. I'm not going to read that. That's a long one. You're going to have the 0.5, the 8, or I'm sorry, the 3, 4, the 5.5, 80, 100, 125. And then you step up here and you kind of got the big one. So once more, I'm old school. I prefer SAE stuff here. And we're to what I care about, and that's this. This is kind of a big deal for some of you. If you know anything about Wera, you know that when you buy a set just like this of their drivers, this is typically how it comes packaged. White box, loose drivers, as I'm sure if I open this you would see. That's 100% correct. That's pretty much what you'd see with chisel drivers. Kraftform Plus, Kraftform Compact, whatever. comfort, I should say. But this sucker right here, you can mount it to the wall, you can mount it to your toolbox, whatever. It will hold 7 drivers, you know, so you've got an accessory slot if you're so inclined. Flip her over, and this is not just some weird bracing. This will actually hold their precision drivers, right? So if you think, I don't need that stand for these, they're going to be in the box, well, you can use it for precision drivers. And it's a benchtop stand. What's special about this one is it's blue, and it has the white logo. It says Wera, and then B, a tool rebel. I think you can actually read it right there. Perfect. So, I know, it's minor, it's just a rack, some of you don't even use it, but for the collectors out there, blue rack, right? Now, if you've ever seen, like if you're on Instagram and you see these pictures of a Wera driver, and it's like some cool color combination, you're like, awesome, you know, I'm gonna pick that up, it matches my car, my bike, my toolbox, my favorite color scheme, whatever. And you can never ever find it. Think about what we have here. It's the special edition Americana, right? And they have done that with other countries. Spoiler alert, we are not the first. If you've seen the Canadian ones, right, you get the number 2 square. I think they offer it with the Phillips as well, but you know, you gotta go with the Robertson, right? But they've done it with Canada. It's, of course, red and white. I think it features the maple leaf here on the backside. And if you've seen any other crazy color combinations, it's probably another country which had a set before we did. So, again, if you want those will become increasingly difficult to purchase. Just like if you're watching this and you're across the pond, if you're in the UK, if you're in Spain, if you're in Germany, you know, this is something you're probably going to have to buy online, import, pay a little extra to get, if it means that much to you. There might be, I mean, geez, there's probably dudes in Germany right now, and that's like their favorite colors, red and blue. They think, why can't I have that? So it is obtainable, but again, it's not going to be as economical as you might hope. So, opening it up, this is what we've got right here. And again, this is standard affair. The other thing, yeah, nothing there, but is this a pack or a sticker? So you do get a sticker in this one. I'm not quite sure why there wasn't one in the 19 one, but hey, if this is your thing, if you're like, man, I really wanted that for my toolbox or my cherry picker, well, you're gonna have to step up and go with the 7-piece set. So let's take a look at this one right now. It is the number 2 Phillips, pretty much just what we had. If you're curious, essentially the red on the Kraftform handle, in this instance obviously green in their typical fashion, that is your soft stuff, your comfort, if you will. This is your spin zone, that's your anti-roll hex at the top, the ergonomics of the handle, sort of the beehive, if you will. But the reason that that's partial there is they designed this to have that break, and it's kind of so the driver doesn't stick to your hand. Not even necessarily if you're dirty, but think of like a hot day and you're sweating, or you get sweaty palms, you know, in the winter because you're working hard type of a deal. That's sort of the crux there. And then, of course, that becomes like an Easter egg. You'll see it on their ratchet handles, the switches, everything. It's just sort of like what people associate with Wera. But again, a number 2 Phillips with the laser tip. It's going to be important that we highlight not everything here is going to have a laser tip. Now, if you do a lot with number 1 Phillips, this is 80 millimeters, and it's got the laser tip. So, comparison's sake here for you, 100 millimeter 4-inch shaft. Here is the 80. Obviously, you know, you're 4/5 of the way. Very fine, very precise. These are the only 2 configurations here. Number 2 Phillips and bottle opener, or the 7-piece set. You can't like come in and, you know, get a number 3 Phillips or number 0 nothing. You know, this is it. Take it or leave it type of a deal. Right here, you're tiny slotted, okay? You have, of course, all the features here except the laser tip. I think you can see that you don't see black there, all right? Now, coming up, I do believe every other size is going to have it. So if you do a lot with slotted stuff, you know, maybe you're slinging some outlet covers or something. Maybe you've got some hobby, you know, or you restore stuff where there's a lot of slotted screws. Even like going back to carbs and stuff, you know, you never know. And it would be advantageous to you to have the laser tip. Tiny little shaft coming out of that guy too. Right here, truth be told, these next two are probably, you know, what most people will use. This would probably be your bread and butter. So we'll take a look at that tip. Again, not black. That's going to be something else we want to discuss, because again, these are laser treated. Now the laser does not last an eternity. You know, if you're actually out there spinning these all the time, it will wear down, but it is there while you have it. And truth be told, the drivers themselves are pretty economical. Like, let's say that you burn through a number 2 Phillips and that size of slotted, you're not looking at a huge chunk of change. Obviously you won't be able to like standalone purchase the special edition ones, but if you wanted to come in right here, I mean, you can often pick these up $5 to $10 a driver. So keep that in mind. If this was your gateway and you're like, man, I love these, but I don't want to trash them, I want to keep them for collectability, and you want to come in and pick up the drivers you use all the time, it will not be a significant investment on your part, particularly going piece by piece there. Right here, this is your big daddy of the set, right, in this case, and that would be the 6.5. And again, these are also made in 21. They've got kind of unfortunate, I don't ever remember the part lines, but I guess they're also usually going to be done you know, in black. Maybe that just blends them in. It is a nice contrast there, seeing the Wera and the size markings in white. And then of course you have got the bottle opener for the second time. So it's kind of about all there is to it. Again, for $20 you get the bottle opener and a number 2 Phillips. If it's your gateway to Wera and you're like, I don't want to invest in these things, you know, until I know if I like the handle or the tips or how they feel, totally fine. That's a great starting point. And then you can come in and just, I mean, if you know what you used, if it's number 2 Phillips, you know, a number 2 Posi, you know, if it's square, whatever, it gets you a feel for the handle at a great price with a limited edition set to boot. That's kind of the perk there, if you will. Again, for collectors, you don't really care. You're just here, you know, for the limited edition aspect and everything. So take that for what it is. Kind of to mock this up for you a little bit, we'll take this guy here and throw him down. Kind of show you what I'm doing. These racks actually work pretty dadgum good, I have to say. Obviously, picture it mounted. But that's a sweet look right there. Let's actually populate this thing. Again, I'm not terribly concerned about you know, somebody coming in and years down the line saying, oh, this one's not worth as much money. He's actually put screwdrivers in it. You know, I'll be straight up honest with you, I don't believe I plan to use these. I've got plenty of Wera drivers. This was just a deal. I thought, man, you know, that's kind of cool. It's a limited edition. It's something I'd like to showcase for people in a video, and that's basically what we're doing. So 42 and 20, we spent about $62 in this, and we'll have them. I don't know if I'll put them on display. That might actually be cool, because seeing this in the rack, that is that's pretty sweet. That's kind of really, that personally gets me more excited than like seeing the packaging. I don't know, I guess the actual tool itself is where the glory should be, in my opinion. But yeah, if you were going to use these and populate your rack, again, toolbox, wall, pegboard, whatever, these would be your little mounts. You could technically set them down as well, you know, if you had them in a deep drawer. It'd have to be a pretty deep drawer, but you kind of get the idea. The sky is the limit, whatever you prefer to do. But they look pretty good. I mean, this is, I'm not going to lie, not my first choice in color schemes, but you know, gotta love America, gotta love quality tools, and it's honestly pretty cool that Wera does this. You know, just like I say, they're kind of the crazy innovator. You know, it's not just that they try to improve their tool. They're like, oh, what's the cool things we could do? And sometimes you get something really awesome that works great for you. Sometimes you just get something that looks cool or is interesting or a conversation piece. And with these limited edition sets for specific countries, it's like, hey, we've got customers here, and that's cool. Let's reward them, type of a thing. So, like I said, what I am interested in from you, if you've purchased these, if you're going to purchase them, are you actually going to use these? Are you going to use some of them? Are you going to pull them out of the package and like display them like this and never use them? Or are you going to spend the $42 and use this all the time? Like, is this something you're bringing in, and when it shows up from KC Tool, you're going to throw it out and put it in use and make all your coworkers jealous? Like, I'm very interested in that dynamic of if this is something that will be utilized or collected. And I've got to be honest, if I didn't already have a ridiculous amount of Wera Drivers, I would probably use these, and it would be like my first choice, obviously outside of the Chisel drivers, to max the card out there. So here we go. But like I said, if I had nothing in the Wera ecosystem, I would snag this 7-piece set. I would probably, truth be told, buy the 2-piece set. If I liked the handle or the tip or some combination thereof, I would come back for this. And I would use this. And then if I thought, oh, you know, I'm crazy, I should have kept those for a rainy day, you know, 40 years down in the future if I'm still here, then I'd go back and buy another one, or see if they like get put on a closeout or clearance or tool of the day. But I would actually rock this as my main sets, you know, if I was new to Wera and then turned out to like it. So nothing wrong with going that route, getting the $19 deal. And then if you try it out and you're like, oh, these are great, my favorite screwdrivers, boom, 7-piece set. But I want to predict to the vast majority of people, this is going to be a collector's item that does not see much, if any, use. So if you spring for the 7-piece set right off the bat, you've never used it, I could see you turning a few screws, testing out the laser function, you know, seeing what your hand feels like after, you know, a project type of a deal. But I'm inclined to say most people, these are either going to be displayed like this somewhere, or just kept in the box. Maybe it'll be propped up, maybe it'll just be stored away, you know. But let me know your thoughts on that. So again, I know there are a ton of Wera fans out there. And another thing that crossed my mind, if you are from a different country, I don't care where you are, is this something you would pick up? You know, whether you hate America or love America, like, is this just like you love Wera so much you collect all of the sets, gotta get them all type of a deal? Or is it a deal where like you're in Sweden, you're like, you know, terrible color scheme, you know, typical America, no interest? Because again, I can see it going both ways. It kind of depends, you know, I guess on like your disposable income as well. But I gotta say, it's not like they mark these things up crazily. You know, Wera themselves at MSRP when these are new and relevant. You know, down the line, 3 years after production is ceased and someone's scalping them, that's not Wera. You know, they're selling these pretty much for the same price you would get, you know, their standard handled drivers with nothing special. So keep that in mind, and let me know, because I am curious there. So like I said, having these out of the box now, it looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Again, this would not be my first color choice, but it looks really nice. So I tell you what, this video's gone on a while. I've got a rack handy that I can take apart real quick, and we will compare that. Alright, so again, from the collector standpoint, this is sort of a big deal. Not the screws, those are mine. They're what I mount these things with. Got several mounted. But again, same exact thing. You can pick these up like dirt cheap. I'm talking like $2 or less if I'm thinking correctly. But they're usually black. Nothing wrong with that. It looks good with everything, whether it's a chisel driver. Obviously looks really good with these. Black and yellow, but again, you know, you come in here with your Kraftform Plus, that looks fantastic too. Black is great like that. Note right here though, there is nothing, there's no white contrasting Wera logo, there's no Wera logo anywhere, there's nothing about being a tool rebel, it's just black. So take a look at this one. Obviously a color contrast is pretty noticeable, I have to say, right? But that is a selling point, and again, that's why I kind of made a big deal out of the rack. It's special for the color and for the branding on it. So if you get multiples of these, or you get this and you love the rack, again, this is available. I'll try to remember to link it, but I'm talking, it might not even be $2. So if you've got a ton of screwdrivers like I do, and you're looking for an economical way to store them or shoot them to a wall or pegboard, this is not a bad option at all. So I will leave it at that for now. But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything we should, and probably some more. That's kind of what we do here. So if you want the rack, if you want a complete set, and if you want that beautiful sticker. I'm not sure that I remember a sticker with a black background either. Off the top of my head, I can't say. I recognize the sticker, but I want to say it's usually clear. Now, this could be clear, you know, like the adhesive, and then like just the backing is black. But anyway, it looks pretty sweet. That's the bottom line, and you get it in the 7-piece. So let me know your thoughts on everything there. Also, might even throw a poll up, who knows. But do you plan to buy the 7-piece, the 2-piece, or both? I think we will make a poll on that. We'll have it probably on the community section on YouTube. So check that out. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, very, very nice looking drivers. Again, really the selling point outside of the rack and the color scheme, that right there, that is that's pretty cool. So I never brought in the Canadian stuff. There's like, I'm sorry, but the Sweden one, or no, Finland. The Finland version looks really good. It's like white and blue. That's just my opinion anyway. But yeah, if you've seen the odd colors and you think, man, those are super cool, I don't know where to get them, it's stuff like this. It's just, you don't know about it because it wasn't made a big deal here. You know, like when Finland gets limited edition drivers, they're not intended for release in the North American marketplace, and it kind of flies over your head, and then years go by. You get the idea. So with that said, let me know, what do you prefer? What is your favorite Wera driver? Is it limited edition handles? Is it the Komfort? Is it the Chisel driver? Or is it the Kraftform Plus? Gotta say again, the things I get the most use out from Wera is the Chisel driver, albeit slotted, because again, it's basically a pry bar type of a deal. So and I have one, I think it's on the truck, and the cap is it's taken a beating, more so than the others up here, but it is what it is. Again, if you do use these and you're like, I don't know what I'm ever going to do with this guy, use that one for panel, like trim and clip releases, you know, like electrical harnesses. It works really well with that small of a tip. But yeah, I'll leave it at that because it's kind of too big for like a lot of sunglasses and stuff, you know. And if you don't deal with like small fasteners, like, I don't know what to even do with this thing. Well, that's what it's great at, is electrical terminations. So keep that in mind. But thanks for watching. Hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Once again, links down below. If you're a Matco person and you think, man, you know, you got to try this, I use it every day and love it, let me know. If you've got something that you hate and you want to see if I also hate, let me know. If it's simply a situation where you're like, oh man, you know, this is that guy that had that thing that I want him to compare the Matco to, tell me about it. Like I said, I can't promise I'll do everything. Their stuff is pricey. You got to realize with this stuff, I've got a lot of it, but I'm thrifty. I get it on sale, promotions, tool of the day. You know, we swing some deals. Going on Matco tools.com or whatever their website is, ain't none of that happening for me. So the dollar doesn't quite go as far. But with that said, if you've got any ideas or suggestions, let me know. I've got a few things. The big issue with Matco, so much of, or almost everything, is like rebranded, or I can recognize the original manufacturer. You know, it's private label type of a deal. And when you can do that and you know what you could buy that for, it becomes a hard sell, even if it does have like a slightly different handle or a cooler color scheme than you could get, you know, for fractions of the price. But like I said, the blue handle ratchets, that's a must pick up. And the thing there, we're actually going to use those and compare and contrast. You know, it's not just like going to sit in a shelf like this may do. It will actually be utilized, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm having a hard time there finding anything, not anything, but like there's not a lot. And then the stuff I am interested in is like expensive. I kind of like some of their hats. There was a lawn gnome that was really tempting. I don't know if anyone saw that thing. It's like $35, but I'm not into lawn gnomes, but if I was, that one would probably be pretty cool. But like I said, throw me some ideas. I'll see what I can do. And be sure to let me know your thoughts on these limited edition drivers, particularly whether you're in America or you're, you know, across the pond, overseas, South America, wherever you are. What are your thoughts on these? Not just, you know, the American ones. Let me know, obviously, about this set, but limited edition sets in general. And another discussion point for you. Would you like to see other manufacturers do this? Like if Hazette were to release a 916 HP, but with a red, white, and blue handle, would you like buy that? And would it be collectible? Would it be thrown in use? Just an interesting sort of conversational topic, in my opinion. with that said, I should probably get inside and edit this mess. It's way longer than I wanted it to be, but hey, it is what it is, right? So as I mentioned, you know the website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. We've got tool content, should be out every Saturday, automotive stuff on Wednesday. If you're subscribed, ring the bell and jump your charger across the creek. YouTube just might notify you. Otherwise, Wednesdays and Saturdays, look for videos 9 a.m. in the morning, Texas time, or as some of you call it, Central Standard. But with that said, I'll quit rambling. Thanks so much for watching. Most importantly, have yourself a fantastic weekend. And if you're interested in these, by all means, get them now when you can get them and they're in stock and they're at a reasonable price. You know, don't wait and wait and wait and then you can't get them type of a deal. Just do it now and be done with it, you know. Like I said, I don't make any money saying that. I'm just looking out for you. I don't want someone to come to this video in 3 years and say, man, I wish I would have bought those when I had a chance. If you're interested, if you hate them, don't get them. But if you're interested, get them now and save yourself a ton of money and trouble down the line. That's kind of the whole reason for this video. These are out, they're limited edition, they're available, they're currently readily available. Take advantage of that if you want them. And with that said, have a great weekend. I'll catch you back for more action from the shop.